I don't think anything is broken, but there will always be different perspectives. Some people might like it, some might not like it. Some people are saying options ko ban karo, some people are saying options ko mat ban karo. I think everything is necessary because the markets are made because of different kind of participants. And, I as a participant might not like the other participants and vice versa, but it's working fine, I think just take it as it comes. I think we are in a very good situation, and if we just continue to not tinker too much, I think this day of 10 trillion, 15 trillion market cap is very much achievable.
Anybody else?
So, I'm not going to talk about regulations because I'm not even an expert on that. In the earlier panel, I think Rishi from Bain Capital spoke about innovation and the spend on R&D. So I just want to make this point because, we have all the big guns here. I think if we count around, we probably have $20-30 billion sitting around here from an investing perspective, yeah? 100 to unhi ke paas hai, $200-300 billion hai yahan pe. I think from a selection perspective, we are not valuing innovation well enough in India. And we are not encouraging companies to really spend more on R&D. This is a problem we have. I'll just quote quick numbers. India as a country on R&D as a percentage of GDP is 0.6%. Compare it to the US sitting around 3.5%, China 3%, Israel 6%, South Korea 6.5-7%. We are abysmal. Now the problem is, if we continue at this rate, we'll never be an innovation economy. We'll never be an innovation country. You look at the number of patents filed, we are nowhere. We are like 15th in that list of patents filed globally. This is the area we need to look at. And I think capital market players have a role to play here in encouraging companies to do more on innovation and actually probably valuing those companies which are driving innovation faster. Higher. It also comes back to that short-term, long-term. R&D takes time. You don't raise R&D spends today and create the best innovation in the world next year. It's a multi-year cycle of innovation. So we also need patience there. The lady spoke of patient capital, which I think is enough in India, frankly. I don't think that's a problem. But this is one thing I really personally like to see more of going forward.
Yeah. Anyways, Vishalji has covered what I thought of, is a need of the hour, that capital is coming in markets. There's a natural capital and the cumulative effect of it we are yet to see over next decades. But one thing that industry, where I come from is we are looking for more sources of domestic capital, which is patient enough to allow us at least a decade to outperform, at least a decade to come out with something which has never happened worldwide. We talk a lot about AI, everyone is talking about data center AI, but the investment in AI, if you look at a gigawatt investment worth of a data center in India, would cost somewhere around 40,000 to 45,000 odd crores, and then when you back it up with the green energy, it increases the capex cost by another 10-15,000 odd crores. So we are talking about a gigawatt supported with 60-65,000 crore of capital. But if you look at the payback, construction time plus the payback, it comes around 8 to 9 odd years, right? The real timeline. And that is a point when you start seeing the benefit of it for next 15-20 odd years. While there are some avenues where the long-term capital is coming in, but I think for India to really do that 8, 9, 10 gigawatt of data center, somewhere in the news I read that we are talking about 9 gigawatt of data centers over next 9 to 10 odd years is a big thing to say, when globally we are at somewhere around 60-70 gigs of data centers, and we are moving towards around 240 to 250 gigawatts worth over next 7-8 years. So 4x over next, let's say 8 years, while India is talking almost 30x of what we are today. So you're in a dire need of a long-term capital. Good part that Indian banks, domestic capital, has been now more conducive to lend you larger term capital. Indian banks, surprisingly, are happy to lend you for 18-20 years, which is a very, very positive signal. But we need much more to happen. We are talking about billions of investment. Honestly, this will not move a needle for a country of 1.5 billion like us. We need trillions in patient capital to come up over next couple of years. I think that's the need of our which industry like us would look at, which is a capital intensive industry.
Great.
I'll just make the mood a little lighter, I think. So one is, Vishal mentioned that we have to encourage innovation. I completely agree that as investors, we have been responsible to have quarter-on-quarter earnings focus. But I think there are corporates who can take the hard call also. Elon Musk doesn't bother about what his investors are saying. He is doing what he's doing. No? So if there are corporates who are convinced that innovation is the way to go forward, who is stopping them? I think the corporates themselves are very focused on their own market cap. So I don't think only investors should be bothered. The other thing is, see, China grew because they attracted FDI. It was not domestic capital. So on capital, I think encourage the Googles and the Facebook and the Metas to put up data centers. I was just sitting today, the ROC of data center business is 7-8%. We should encourage global guys to put those data centers as 7-8% and we should use it and make 20% ROC. I think that is how China grew. So I would say that, let us also be very aware of how much capital as a country we have to invest in low ROC businesses, because if all the capital goes here, we will not be able to generate employment. These are high capex oriented sectors. We need sectors where we can generate employment also. So I think somewhere it's a combination of all of us having to work together to do it. It's very easy to say that investors should do this and corporates should do this. I think everyone will have to think and do what is needed. And I again say, you see Anil Agarwal of Vedanta. People say, "Arey, aisa mat karo, maisa mat karo." Bolta hai, "Mere ko to karna hai." You want to invest, you invest. You don't want to invest, don't invest. Elon Musk does it. He says, "I am going to do what I believe is right." उसके बाद में उसकी ऑटोबायोग्राफी भी लिखते हैं, उसका मार्केट कैप भी $1 ट्रिलियन हो जाता है ना.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I am Sandeep Goswami, probably the only odd man out here. I'm a climate scientist from the World Bank Institute, and I'm an innovator. So the first innovation is that I found that as a UNDRR member also, and a World Economic Forum Strategic Intelligence member, that there is something about how capital market doesn't understand what climate risk is. So what I did was that I created a company, which we are today, Indo-European company. I have my own satellites. I can zoom down on this geo center and can tell you what can happen from now to 2099 with exact accuracy, and even go 200 feet under the ground and see it. When I first came in India and I asked that koi paisa lagayega kya, the first thing say, bahar kahin kiya hai kya? So that's the first thing I get the mindset. As of Sunday, I will be creating a speed breaker. When your car goes over it, it will generate 200 watts of electricity. I've already done it. The first question that came to me is, has somebody else outside India done it? How do I break that mentality of investors? Can you please help?
Sunil is going to answer that question.
So our investment philosophy is very clear. We have Manish invest, take it to a certain level, and then we come in higher. So you have to connect with Manish.
Buy many more, sir.
But I can tell you one thing, the ecosystem of startups is now very vibrant. There are more than enough individual investors like Utpal and large family offices who have the risk appetite to fund any idea which has potential. That much I can tell you. Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
No, I think, he's absolutely right. There are family offices, there are investors, big ones, who've got capital to put behind ideas. If the idea makes sense and it shows scope and scalability, there's capital available. We can talk later.
We'll have some deals on this dice, that means. Great.
Mahesh gets carried. That's his job.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, yeah.
Good evening, everyone. Firstly, thank you, Mahesh ji, for having us here. It's been an absolute pleasure at such a young age to be part of such insightful conversations. I had a quick question from Sunil ji. So I've been part of my family business for the past 2.5, 3 years. You said always having a promoter is beneficial, right? Like as in having a promoter in the game just excites the investors or more maybe. Our conversations have been about debt and equity today, like debt versus equity and all of that. So going through the equity route, right? And if the promoter still has their skin in the game, does it really like attract investors? Does it make it too complicated for them? Does it? I don't know. It's been kind of confusing. This really hasn't. I haven't gotten clarity on this. Like what are
On
investors?
raising debt.
No, raising like growing through equity, like diluting equity, but having still the promoters wanting to still have their skin in the game.
So you're saying are the investors wary of promoter-owned companies where, the promoters generally call the shots?
Yeah, like they still
That's
want
the
to be part
question.
of the.
No, so as long as, see, a promoter is also a shareholder.
Correct.
And other shareholders are also shareholders. And their interests are aligned. If the promoters believes that, then, obviously the investors will love it. Because ultimately, if wealth is created, it will be created for all. And how will wealth be created? If there is a discipline in your capital allocation. It is as simple as that, So I don't think, at least from our perspective, having a promoter is a bad thing. In fact, some of the promoters are great. And in fact, some of the second and third generation like you are better. Because, see, we had our independence in 1947. The first lot of entrepreneurs in 80 and 90 had the mind of creating cash income and using that to buy land and all. Now, you guys are not going to have cash. पर्स ही नहीं रहता है phone पे इसमें. So I think somewhere second and the third generation, foreign educated or from IIT and all, they are only adding value to the businesses. So I think at least